How many of you use emojis or GIFs when you text? How many of you use emojis or GIFs? Know somebody who uses emojis or GIFs when you text? How many of you all have a friend that do? Maybe you don't personally, but you probably have a friend in your life that can't send a text without an emoji attached, or there can't be a conversation without a GIF involved. A little confession moment. Myself and Michael and Clint and Mark and Scott have a group text together, and oftentimes there can't be a conversation without a GIF involved. But here's the reality, and here's an important question I have for you. Why do we use these? Why do we use these silly little faces and these silly little videos to communicate to one another? Well, I think other than just being a form of communication, I think they express a feeling when there are no words to describe that feeling. For example, this GIF communicates excitement way better than just texting someone and saying, "Wow, I'm so excited," right? This emoji communicates disgust way better than just saying, "Wow, I'm disgusted," or "Ooh, that's nasty." This GIF communicates "that was awesome" way better than just saying "that was awesome," right? And this emoji communicates shock way better than just saying, "Wow, I'm shook," right? The simple fact is, we use these silly little faces and short clips to communicate something our words never could. And if I were going to attach an emoji or a GIF to where we will be at in the story of Joseph this week, it would be this one. It would be one of shock. It would be a GIF that conveys shock. See, I would say most of us have had situations in our lives that have left us utterly shocked, in moments where all we can do is this right here, right? Just our mouth drops open. See, those moments in life where words will never be able to adequately describe what happened. That there's things in our life sometimes that happen that simply rock our world, that catch us off guard, that make us feel uncertain about life, or maybe even cause us hurt. See, maybe for you it was when your parents came to you and told you that they were getting a divorce when you didn't even know anything was wrong. Maybe it was when you received a text message from a friend and the text was saying something mean about you, and you immediately knew that they meant to send that text to somebody else. Maybe you felt this way about your mom or dad coming to you and saying that you're going to have to move due to a job that one of them has gotten, and you're going to have to leave your friends behind. Maybe for you, let's just be honest, maybe the place you find yourself right now in life, well, school has been called off, well, sports have been cut short, well, you are now confined to your home. Maybe that itself has left you with nothing but shock. See, here's the reality. This list of shocking moments can go on forever and ever and ever. And here's what I can promise you. If you haven't experienced one of these jaw-dropping moments, you're going to in life because they happen. But here's the thing. When it comes to painful moments, these painful moments often hit us out of nowhere. And because of that, it's difficult for us to know how we'll respond and how they'll make us feel, right? Sometimes we surprise ourselves with how well we handle these shocking moments. Wow, I figured news like that would really catch me off guard or take me to the edge and really strain me and push me emotionally, but I'm actually doing okay. Sometimes we're surprised at how much it tears us apart. We think, I don't even know why I'm so upset about this, but I am heartbroken. And then sometimes we feel closer to God when stuff rocks our world, and sometimes we feel very distant from God when things rock our world. And here's the reality, because we all experience these differently, and we don't know how we're going to respond. The other flip side of that is we all experience hope differently, right? But that doesn't change the fact that hope hopes, right? Regardless of how you respond, hope hopes. And when life hopes, we find ourselves wondering what to do next. And that's why we're doing this series, what to do when you don't know what to do, because we all encounter these no words, emoji slash GIF type moments in our life. And so to Joseph. See, this evening we're going to be picking up the story of Joseph, and we're going to be back in Genesis 37. So I invite you to go on and turn there. But I want to catch you up on what we talked about last week. Last week, we went through the beginning of Joseph's story, and Michael kind of gave us a breakdown of the family tree when it came to Joseph. If you remember, Joseph's dad was Jacob. Jacob had a heart and a love for Rachel, and he worked years to get Rachel's hand in marriage. But then her dad tricked Jacob into marrying his daughter Leah instead of Rachel. So Jacob had one wife at this point, but his heart was for Rachel, so he worked an additional years to get the hand of Rachel. And at this point, he had two wives. Okay, and he had sons with Leah, but Rachel couldn't give him sons, so Rachel gave him her maid servant. And now he had three wives and kids with two of them. And then Leah, his first wife, got jealous and gave her handmaid to him for a wife. So now he's got four wives, and now he's got multiple kids with three different women. And then eventually, Rachel, the love of his life, gives him children. And one of those children was Joseph. And so now they in this crazy family. Okay, there are 14 total kids, 13 boys, one of them being Joseph, and a little girl that we know of in Scripture. There could have been more, but we only know of one. And so there's four moms, one dad, 14 siblings, and to top it all off, Joseph was the favorite. And he was very well known to be the favorite because Jacob, his dad, gave him a coat of many colors, which basically screamed to the others, hey, I don't care as much about you as I do Joseph. And because of that, his brothers hated him. If you remember, last week we talked about how Joseph shared these dreams. Joseph was not really aware of how his brothers felt. And so instead of being aware, he shares these dreams, and it causes his brothers to hate him even more. And we looked at how we all have the ability to affect our families, and that we all have a role to play in our families. That's where we were last week. Well, this week we get to see the end result of these dreams. This week we pick up the story with after Joseph has shared these dreams with his brothers, and they respond the way they do. Now his brothers take action against Joseph. And that's where we pick up today. So I invite you to look at verses 18 through 20 with me this evening. This is what it says. They saw him in the distance, and before he had reached them, they plotted to kill him. They said to one another, "Oh, look, here comes that dream expert. So now, come on, let's kill him and throw him into one of the pits. We can say that a vicious animal ate him. Then we'll see what becomes of his dreams." Now look, the reality was that went from 0 to 100 real quick. These brothers clearly had it out for Joseph, and to the point where not only did they hate him, but their hatred drove him to a point where they wanted to kill him. They were just ready to be done with him altogether and not only kill him, but then lie about killing him to his father Jacob. But here's the great thing. Joseph had a brother named Reuben that had a conscience. And listen to what Reuben says as this story continues in verses 21 and 22. When Reuben heard this, he tried to save him from them. He said, "Let's not take his life." Reuben also said to them, "Don't shed blood. Throw him into this pit in the wilderness, but don't lay a hand on him," intending to rescue him from them and return him to his father. Thank goodness for Reuben, right? Reuben convinced his brothers that killing Joseph wasn't right, that killing Joseph wasn't the answer. And instead, they should throw him into a pit and not harm him. But see, there was a reason Reuben said that. Reuben wanted to rescue Joseph. But the reality was he never got a chance. Because something else happened. See, they listened to Reuben, and we see in the text when Jacob approaches, they rip off his clothes and they throw him into this well. And if Joseph had a phone, this is when he would have texted his best friend, probably something like this: "When your brothers tear up your jacket and throw you in a well." But they're still not done with him. See, just throwing him in the well wasn't enough. Because the text continues, and these brothers, they sit down to eat a meal together. And as they're eating a meal, one of the other brothers suggests, "Hey, why don't we sell Joseph?" There was this caravan of traders coming through, and they were like, "Hey, let's do something better. We still want to get rid of Joseph, and if we can't kill him, let's do the next best thing. Let's sell him into slavery." And so that's what they do. But it doesn't necessarily go as planned, because remember, Reuben planned to come back and save him. Well, obviously, selling Joseph into slavery kind of ruined Reuben's plan. So Reuben returns, and he's mad. He tears his clothes, and he kind of is wondering what they've done. And now they've got to come up with this cover story. And so look what they do in verse 32. They sent the robe of many colors to their father and said, "We found this, examine it. It is your son's robe or not." See, what they did was they tore the robe, the coat of many colors, up, dipped it in animal's blood, and sent it back to Jacob, knowing that Jacob would know it was Joseph's coat. And so they send it back. And what's interesting to me about all this is the last line. Did you catch it? Look at verse 32. Did you see what they did? They brought it to their dad, knowing that he would know, but they couldn't even call Joseph by his name. They said, "Is this your son's coat?" They couldn't even call Joseph by his name. And if Joseph had a phone, this is probably when he would have sent a text message like this: "Good news, out of the well. Bad news, they sold me." Like, actually sold me. And so, shock face. Look, I'm being a bit lighthearted about this, but there was nothing lighthearted about this situation. We simply can imagine the fear, despair, uncertainty, anger, and hope that Joseph felt. Betrayed by his own flesh and blood, sold into slavery by the brothers he grew up with, See, the message being sent was very loud and clear. We're better off without you. I mean, what would you do? How would you get yourself unsold? This is clearly a what to do when you don't know what to do moment. And here's the reality. All stories are different than Joseph's, but we all experience pain of some kind. We've all had or will have scary, painful, dangerous moments that catch us off guard. We'll all have moments when life doesn't make sense and we don't have the words to process what's happening. And maybe that's you right now. And here's what you need to understand. Unfortunately for Joseph, these moments of not knowing what to do continue to happen. And we're going to look at some of those in the next few weeks. But there's a part of Joseph's story that I want to point out to you. Because see, in Genesis 38, there's kind of a break from Joseph's story. But then in Genesis 39, Joseph's story is picked up once again. And there's something very important in Genesis 39. In the first two verses that I want you to see, listen to what Genesis 39, 1 through 2 says. Now Joseph had been taken to Egypt. An Egyptian named Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh and the captain of the guards, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had brought him there. The Lord was with Joseph, and he became a successful man, serving in the household of his Egyptian master. Now I want to highlight 5 powerful words that show up in these verses that you might have missed or overlooked. While they didn't keep Joseph from getting thrown into a pit and they didn't keep him from getting sold, these 5 words literally made all the difference and helped Joseph maybe more than anything else. And I think these 5 words can also help us. And here's what they are. The Lord was with Joseph. Do you see it? In verse 2, the Lord was with Joseph. Here's the reality. Joseph didn't have a lot going for him in the pit, and even less afterward. But when Joseph was in despair and wondering how life would turn out, he could rely on a single truth, that God was with him. See, the truth didn't change the reality of Joseph's situation. This truth didn't mean that Joseph could see where the story was going. This truth didn't mean that Joseph could easily deal with the things that happened to him. It didn't mean that he had reason or explanation for the pain in his life. But here's what this truth did do. This truth is what made Joseph successful in the moment of shocking uncertainty in his life. And the reality is this, the same is true for us. The bottom line of this whole message is this: when there's nothing you can do, God is with you. Look, at this point in Joseph's life, there was nothing he could do. His brothers did what they did, and it was out of his control. And I'm sure that Joseph never thought that this is how his life would turn out, especially at a young age. But there was nothing he could do about it. And now the only thing he could do was rely on the fact that God was with him. And he did that. And because he did that, God made him successful. See, God turned the shockingly bad into something shockingly good in Joseph's life. And the same is true for us. When life hands you shocking news and you don't know what to do, God is with you. Truthfully, we hear that all the time, right? You hear that truth that God is with you all the time, and you hear it so often that the words can lose their meaning. You can begin to not feel them or think that they're true, but think about it for a second. God is with you, and He's not with you in some abstract way, but He is literally present. He's near you. He's next to you when you feel alone. Look, when you and I can embrace this truth, it changes things. Our circumstances may not change. After all, they didn't change for Joseph, and he didn't immediately get returned to his family, but it changes our perspective on the situation. And maybe more than anything, it gives us hope. It gives us a hope to keep going even when it feels like we can't. Knowing that God is with us, understand this, knowing that God is with us may not change our circumstances, but it might just change us. It might just give us enough motivation, enough hope to keep going even in the midst of our hopeless circumstances. Look, it's easy to give in to the hope we've experienced. It's easy to let it overwhelm us or anger us when things shockingly bad happen. We have a lot of reasons to let difficult and sometimes unfair situations get the last word, but when we know that God is with us, the uncertainty of life doesn't get the last word. God does. So what does this look like for us? Well, there are no formulas or easy answers for getting through hard times, but I think there's a couple of things that you can do. One, you can be real. Feel your feelings. Look, not everyone's going to experience incredible luck in life, but everyone will go through tough times. All throughout the Bible, people went through difficulties and were promised by Jesus himself that life will come with trials. But here's the thing, when you go through the Bible, there are accounts after accounts of people being real and being honest with God. Just go read some of the Psalms. Look, there's no cliches to make the hard times go away. And our job isn't just to suck it up and act like everything's okay. Because here's the reality, if we believe that God is with us, then we should know that God is more than okay with our honest questions, our honest doubts, our honest fears, and our honest frustrations. Be real. And the second one would be this. Remind yourself and each other that God is with you. Here's a spoiler alert. Things did eventually work out for Joseph. But we know that because we can read ahead in the story. But when Joseph was in it, he didn't know how it would turn out. There were no spoiler alerts for him. All he could do was face another day, wondering how things would turn out. But he held on to one thing, and that was that God was with him. In moments when life is toughest, that's when this reminder is most important. God is with you, and your story isn't over yet. So as I close, here's what I can promise you. Life will have shockingly bad moments when you feel alone. But just like Joseph, the truth is you're not alone. The truth is you have a God with you that loves you and wants to turn those shockingly bad moments into something shockingly good. You have a God with you that cares for you and that has proven his love and care for you by sending Jesus to die for you, for your sins on the cross and walk out of the tomb fully alive so that you could have victory over sin and death in your life through Jesus and have the chance at eternity in heaven with God. And all you have to do is believe that Jesus did what he said he did. That's all you have to do. And maybe tonight, that's what you need to do. Maybe you need to believe that for the first time. Maybe tonight, this reminder that God is with you is just what you need. Look, I'm not going to put on a front. I know that for many of you, as you sit here and you watch this video, your life has been turned upside down. Things have been taken away from you. Seasons have been cut short. For you seniors, your senior year has been taken away for the most part, all the things that come with it. For some of you, your life was school because your life was about friends, and now all that even seems to be taken away. I'm not going to put on a front that I even understand what you're feeling. But I do know that you're hurting and you're confused. And I want you to know that it's okay to be hurting and confused. But I also want you to know that God is with you. And God is known for taking the shockingly bad and turning it into something shockingly good. I can promise you good will come from this. You just got to hold on and believe the same thing that Joseph believed, that God is with you. Maybe that's what you need to be reminded of this evening. Look, if you've made a decision, I would love to talk to you. I would encourage you to call me, reach out to me. Maybe you want to reach out to your small group leader and not me. That's okay too. But I encourage you to reach out to somebody if you've made a decision. Would you guys pray with me as I close? God, thank you for today. Thank you for being a God that is with us. Thank you for being a God that not only is with us, but a God that takes the shockingly bad and turns it into something shockingly good. I pray tonight for these students. For so many of them, they probably feel that things have been ripped away. And God, I pray that tonight, that this truth, that you are with them, would give them the hope to persevere when they don't think they can keep going. God, in the days where they feel lonely, in the days where they feel angry and confused and all these other emotions, I pray that they would get alone and be honest with you, but then be reminded by you and by others and by themselves that you are still with them. God, we love you. We trust you during this time. And we pray all this in your sweet name. Amen.